welcome to Giggles and Goals.
Hi guys, welcome.
I'm Leonie.
Crystal-Dior.
Oh Lord.
Anyway, we're excited to be here again to see y'all. Happy Halloween or October.
Happy Halloween. This is coming out in October sometime, so happy Halloween either before or after.
Yes. Either happy early or happy belated Halloween.
Exactly.
Today we're actually talking about something that's really scary, actually.
Yes.
This is giving me terror.
Okay.
We're talking about Diddy. Did he do it? Diddy?
Well, we're talking about horrible bosses.
Like Diddy.
Yes. Killer bosses who kill your career.
With the theme around Diddy.
Okay. Yes, exactly. Well, everything is about Diddy. We didn't talk about Diddy in like 5-6 episodes at this point.
Diddy is the hot topic of the year.
Topic. I'm like, Diddy, Lord Jesus.
Diddy. Okay.
Yes.
Have you seen that Diddy done? Have you seen like they redid the Selena song?
Oh, no.
They're like Diddy or something. It's really funny. Anyway,
I gotta send it to me because I know these Diddy memes are out of control.
Hilarious. But let's jump into our one-liners.
Yes. Okay. So starting over. Treat toxic bosses like bad Wi-Fi. Disconnect and find a better signal elsewhere.
Amen. Amen. They say most people quit their bosses, not their jobs. So
yes.
It's a thing. Mm-hmm. Okay, mine is, I only have a master's degree, but I don't think it takes a PhD to see that Diddy leaves a trail of trauma and lawsuits everywhere he goes. He's a walking case study in toxic energy.
It's more than toxic energy. That is something else. That's something, we need stronger words than toxic for that situation.
That's real.
Okay, so who said that? My turn today.
Uh-huh.
I don't have that written down because it's off the top of my head.
Oh, Lord.
So here we go.
Okay, it's about to be a Kendrick Lamar quote. Go ahead.
It's all fun and games until somebody gets hurt.
Kendrick Lamar?
No.
Give me clues.
Everybody has one.
A mom?
Yes, that's somebody's mama said that. Somebody's mama said that.
She just quoted somebody's mama.
Everybody's mama.
Oh my gosh. And why did I know? Oh my goodness.
It's all fun and games until somebody gets hurt. And that is what because did you hear about Bow Wow complaining about how he's gonna miss the Diddy parties and how after the BET Awards it's like oh man, it was just such a fun time. And Pee-wee got so much backlash for that.
So what are you thinking?
And I know some people are like, oh, it's out of context, but I'm trying to imagine in what context is it appropriate to say I'm gonna miss Diddy parties right now?
He probably wasn't invited in the behind the room. He probably was only allowed in the front part of the party. Because I heard there's 2 parts of the party.
Well, yeah.
So he probably wasn't in the back party.
And the thing is, everything is documented. There's stuff all over the internet about Diddy saying after this certain amount of time, it's about to get the kids out of here. Da, 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 da. Yeah. I'm like, wow.
Or Denzel telling Lecrae, I think it was Lecrae, leave 30 minutes before the devil arrives.
Oh, I didn't know that word.
That's what he said.
Oh, wow.
He didn't say who. He just said always leave the party 30 minutes before the devil arrives.
Okay.
Like, what? What you trying to tell us without telling us, Denzel?
So, I mean, but it's funny. Everybody knows what was going on.
Everybody.
So it's like, were you there?
Yes. Just like with R. Kelly.
Did you leave before the devil arrived?
I bet one time he didn't.
That's how he knows.
But we want to talk about Diddy. Because, I mean, one thing Diddy is a businessman. He's a boss. Like, maybe not a boss in a positive way, but he's a boss to many people. And many people's careers were started and ended because
very
of Diddy.
Quickly. It's like, one thing is like, if Diddy came to offer you a deal,
run.
But he's left a trail of, I was going to say corpses, but that could be literally, but he's left a trail of just like dying careers.
He's like a vampire.
Yeah.
Like he'll suck the life out of you and then discard of you.
I don't like who is with under Diddy's leadership or under his label or whatever and came out better or just came. I mean, Mary J. Blige, she seems to be okay, but
even she should be a higher level
than she
artist than she is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like she should be, I mean, maybe people think she is at Diddy's level, but it seems like she is working really hard at her age and she should be sitting back in her puddle of money. Mm-hmm. But Diddy's sitting back in her puddle of money.
That's true.
So we're going to talk about it. Diddy being a career launcher, but what cost does it have to the artist? He takes what he needs and leaves on. it moves on. So we're going to talk about his business strategy and how to avoid being cartilage of his business strategy. Yes. So we're going to jump into people that we know who are connected to Diddy and their careers are connected to Diddy. Do you want to start first?
Okay. So, Notorious B.I.G.
Yes. He's probably the biggest Diddy star.
For sure. The most iconic, I would say, or like the one that has like the longest, the biggest legacy.
Yes. But do you know now, like I said, I did watch a little bit of the Diddy documentaries that are out.
I haven't
There's
seen
two.
any.
They're on Netflix. One is called Diddy Do It.
No.
And another one called Diddy Did It.
I didn't see any of them.
They're on Netflix.
I looked it up, but I didn't see them
They're
recently.
On Netflix and Hulu.
I got to look it up because I thought the Diddy Do It was the 50 Cent one.
Yes, that's on Netflix.
That's not out yet.
Yes, it is.
Okay, I got to look.
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
But now I don't know if this is true or not, but they're saying towards the end of Notorious B.I.G.'s life, he actually wanted, because Diddy owned the rights to his music. And before he dropped another album, he wanted to separate from Bad Boy. He got some other offers and he wanted to explore them. And him and Diddy were at odds in regards to him.
This was from the documentary?
No, this is from another documentary that I saw. Not these new ones, but like before Diddy's downfall, people were just talking about, people have been talking about Diddy being toxic, so it's not new.
Yeah.
But I've seen interviews with Diddy's old security and stuff like that, who was like, no, towards the end, like Biggie kind of wanted to do bigger things. Like he wanted to own his own. So he didn't want to be Diddy's puppet.
Yes. Oh my God.
And so him and Diddy were at odds regarding that. Now, I don't know if that means Diddy did anything. I don't know. But I know Diddy made a lot more money off of Notorious B.I.G. dead than he did with him alive.
Yes.
And he's still making money off of that. And I don't know how set up Faith Evans is, but I don't think she is because seemed like she's kind of in that
nobody seems to be doing well in his atmosphere.
Right.
Like you have to come to the table already doing well.
I think she was married to Big when he passed, right?
She was.
So she should be a billionaire off of the,
Well, she probably don't own nothing. She probably did. He was probably one of these on the beneficiary of everything.
Because most of these artists make money off of tours. If Biggie is gone, the only money coming is the rights to his music, which Diddy is getting.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's jump to Danity Kane.
Yes.
I watched Making the Band.
I loved Making the Band.
I loved it. I actually really liked Danity Kane. Like their first album was really good.
Yeah.
And then
My Heart is Damaged. Was that Danity Kane or somebody else?
That was him.
Okay.
But I can't think of her name right now, but the blonde one. Aubrey. She talks out a lot about Diddy because she says that she rejected one of his advances and like was 10 toes down rejecting it, and that's when he broke up the group. And that he retaliated. He doesn't like reject. He doesn't like no. So he retaliated. And Danity Kane just kind of he pinned them against each other. She talked about.
But remember Day 26 as well. What happened to them? And then remember the solo white guy that he had. What happened to him? Like
they just fell off. They all
just they don't go anywhere.
He gets what he needs. He also did that talent show. It was like an American Idol type of show. I don't know if you saw it.
I don't remember the name of it, but I do.
But I watched it, and there's a girl who won on that show, and I haven't heard anything about her career. But he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna."
I don't understand how somebody could be so popularized and so famous off of like just having a thread of failed acts.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
Well, later in his career, I feel like he picked people who. He took advantage. Like he took people who just really wanted to make it. He's like, well, I'm going to help you make it. So they were just like, well, it's better than nothing. And then they end up in these contracts that are like, you have to tour for the rest of your life to make $1. And it's just.
But Danity Kane can't even tour because if he owns the rights to the group, then you can't do anything.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because he dismantled them. Yeah. Like the record label has to give you permission.
It's like everything is like a toy to him, it seems like.
So when they didn't do what he wanted to do, there's a lot of internal conflicts, just a lot. And then he tried to branch off with Don and did like a little like him, Don, and
Dirty Money.
Yes. And then I think Don said the same thing, that she didn't fall in line or do some of the things outside of the contract that he wanted her to do. And so he just.
Right. It still boggles my mind because I guess I never, until all this stuff happened, it's always like been in the back of your mind when you hear about Diddy or people who've been associated with him. It's like, how come all of Diddy stuff, I guess, was Jodeci part of Diddy or was that, Jameika?
No, Mace was. No. Jodeci wasn't.
Okay.
I actually saw a TikTok. This woman was sharing her story. She used to work at the steakhouse in New York near Broadway. Did you see this interview? She was just talking. This wasn't an interview. She was talking, but she worked at a restaurant, like a high-end steakhouse, and it was when Diddy was on tour on Broadway for Raisin in the Sun. So it was close enough to the venue that he would come there almost like every day. And he usually would bring different people, like executives or usually women, different women he would bring to dinner after the show. And so she said because of Diddy's ego, he would actually come by early on the way to the venue and he would ask her, I'm going to order this. What wines would go with this? And they would practice him pronouncing the wine and him knowing what the wine paired with. He just wanted to seem smart when he brought his guest. So they'll pick out the wine before, and then when he would come in, he would act like,
that's a lot of setup for
she
a
said
dinner.
They did this for weeks. He would come in early, and then he would be like, okay, I'm going to tell me how you say it. Okay, say it like that. He would come in with the woman and be like, oh, I think I'm going to order steak. I think this pairs well with steak. And he would do the whole pony. She'd be like, oh, good choice. It would be a whole little show. And he was always nice. He would tip well. And so she's like, oh, Diddy's cool. One particular day, he came in. They did the whole thing. He came later, and she didn't realize, although the wine was on their wine list, they didn't have it in stock. So he comes in, he orders the wine. And she goes, we actually don't have it in stock. My apologies. His light, turned off, and he became like a different... He got really upset about them not having the wine. I guess he felt embarrassed. And he just got mad and was just very ugly with her and didn't tip and just because he felt embarrassed because he didn't know. And she was just like, that's when she was like, oh, this man can flip on you. Because she's like, we were cool. Like, he had been coming for weeks and he flipped on me just like that because we were out of stock.
Crazy.
Of the wine. So you can imagine what he was like as a boss.
I know. It's like, that's just from a server. Somebody who, and he never... So the thing is, he never seemed like he was a nice guy.
No, it's true.
Never seemed like he was a nice guy. Like, he always seemed like he was about the theatrics and being dramatic. But I guess it was, you look at him as like an entertainer, but realizing that, no, he really is that. That's really how he is.
He's toxic.
Yeah.
Or even like Lorianne Gibson, there was a lawsuit. This is back earlier around the making the band. He threw a chair at her, injured her. And she went immediately and filed charges against him, but they got thrown out because of this, that, or the other. And then they end up making up. But that was someone who was in his close circle. Right. And he flipped on her like that. Like, they actually, I've heard many interviews about them kind of being now their family, probably trauma bond. But it's this, he can act up, be mean, be disrespectful. But then we're fam. He's kind of toxic like that. But the next person who was in Diddy's crosshairs that kind of could have been a big star, but they weren't. Mace.
And so this was I guess the stuff with Mace started coming out a few years ago, where it was like, he owes me money. He's holding my music, all this stuff. Because I always thought that Mace left because he had found God and he had turned into a pastor and stuff like that.
I think to get away from Diddy.
Yeah, it seems like it. It seems like if Diddy hadn't have been the person he was, Mace probably would have still been doing music.
I don't think Mace could have. He knew there was no reality in which he could do music without Diddy was not going to let him do music without him. So it's either, if you want to survive this, it's better just to leave the music industry altogether.
It's like, how far do you go for what seems like to be your only chance in the industry? It's like, because it seems like so many people's lights were snuffed out because of him.
And Diddy, not this is all rumored, but there's a lot of rumors of Diddy putting hits out on people if they didn't. He put a hit on Drake. And was it Method Man? Method Man did an interview about it.
Okay.
He heard about it on the streets. The Diddy was mad. Drake didn't want to, whatever. Drake wasn't kissing the ring, I guess. And he kind of put out some money. And so I think it was Method Man who called Drake and said, hey, maybe you shouldn't come here for a bit.
Wow.
So Diddy's just like that. He hung Cassie's boyfriend over the freaking balcony.
Oh, okay.
So
is that the one? Not Kid Cudi with but he blew up his car though.
But he hung someone over the balcony too.
Wow.
He
literally is like Nino Brown. He's like the dude.
And his dad was
the drug dealer.
His dad was
his dad was a drug dealer.
Yeah, big kingpin. I mean, he didn't know his dad, but some of this stuff might be genetic. Or his mom has a type, and she maybe raised her type.
Well, she seems like she's definitely. She was a possibly a drug kingpin's woman. So that's a certain mindset that comes with that.
I mean, Mace said in an interview recently that a lot of the big hits, he wrote the lyrics for Diddy. He wrote most of Diddy's big hits. He was the pen behind it, but Diddy didn't. Mace.
Oh,
But Diddy didn't give him
wow.
credit for it. And he said Diddy wanted him to stay right here. Whenever Mace had the opportunity to kind of like, Diddy be like, no, you're right here.
Yeah, it's
And
like
so-
that is some. So let's take this to like actual applying it to the workplace as well. There are people who I've been in situations where I've seen employers or bosses take credit for an employee's idea or something like that, and it's like they don't give recognition. They have that insecurity where they want to keep that all to themselves. So it's that is having that situation is in itself is toxic, but then also having somebody who's abusive is another thing.
Some bosses don't want you to exceed beyond them. They want you to stay right here and do what you're doing. For me, it's a recent example. In my role right now, I support some sales executives. Let me say that. And I help them get new meetings with clients and, help them close deals, right? Recently we had a big structure change. So everything's changing. And so I decided to apply for a higher position. And so one of my sales executives, I didn't tell her this, but I was talking to her and she just kind of brought it up. She was like, hey, with all the changes, like, what do you think you want to do? Like, are you going to, stay on this team or what do you want to do? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, maybe I'll look into moving elsewhere. She's like, well, I think you do really good at what you do. Like, I wouldn't want you to change. Like, like you're really good at what you do. Like, and I feel like you're one of the best at what you do. And like, you do a lot of good work with what you do. Like, I think, if I were you, I would just thrive where I'm at. I'm like, oh, you don't want me taking your job, sis? Like, that's what it sounded like to me. Like, she's pretty much saying, just like, you cool right here.
Right. Like, don't aim. And that it boggles my mind.
It's helping
people
her.
tell you not to aim. Like, they try to sneakily say, don't aim higher.
Yeah.
It's like, get out of here.
Yeah. But my boss, of course, is so different. It's funny because when I was applying for the job, because after that, I had that conversation with her, I'm like, maybe I should just not tell anybody else that I'm applying for the sales executive role. And so I applied for it and I didn't tell my boss right away because I was talking to the HR person. She's just like, just wait until you get the job. Like, when you get the job, then tell your boss, hey, I applied for this. So I was like, okay. So I didn't say anything. I applied for the job and my boss actually reached out to me. I guess she knew the guy hiring for it. And she was like, hey, did you apply for this job? And I said, I did. I haven't heard anything. I've just she's like, no, I think that's exactly what you should do. I was going to recommend it to you.
Oh, cool.
She's like, I actually sent him a recommendation for you.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, what? And then I have two bosses. My other boss, I did mention it to her because her and I are close. And she sent a long paragraph recommendation for me. She BCC'd me on it. That's why I saw it. But they were just so excited. They were more excited about me. Like, I think my boss knew I got the job before I did because she talks to the guy, like their friends. And so she kept going, have you heard from him yet about the job? And I'm like, not yet. She's like, okay, let me know when you hear from him. Next day, have you heard from him? Not yet. Okay, well, let me know. And then when I heard from her, she's like, did you hear from him? And I was like, I did. She's like, you got it. And so she was just more excited than me. But that's rare because I've had more bosses who are like, why are you trying to leave? Or what are you doing? And
yes. Be supportive.
Some bosses don't want you to win. They want you to stay right here and help them win.
Yes, exactly.
I feel like that's how Diddy is. Like, there's this other group. I found out about them. I didn't know who they were. The Locks.
Oh, okay.
Have you heard of the Locks?
Yes.
Oh. I didn't know.
It's all right.
What do they sing?
With Jadakiss. You know
I know
who
who he is, of course, but I don't
Yeah.
know who Styles P is. Chic Lock.
So I can't say that I know a lot of their music because it's East Coast. I'm not really a huge East Coast rap fan, or I haven't never really listened to a lot of East Coast music, but I know that they are legends. That's what I know.
Well, he makes legends now. Does he make them millionaires? No.
Right. Well, they are millionaires. I would say that Mary J. Blige is a millionaire.
He doesn't make them abundantly, extremely successful like they should be.
I guess the only thing you come away with is just being infamous.
A name.
Or having a name, because we still know Daddy Kane. When's the last time they put out a song? We know Aubrey. We know Don.
Yeah, we know their names.
That's the only ones I know. We know Faith. We know Lil Kim. We know everybody. Yeah,
we know them. But I feel like I can get them to sing at my wedding, and I shouldn't be able to. Like, I should not be able to.
So you think? We'll see.
Like, I went to this Honeyland Festival last year. It was its first time. It was a little Houston festival. It was a little, budget sensitive. Mary J. Blige headline. Why was she able to be there?
Aww.
Why could they afford her? That's how I felt. But
Well, you shouldn't be able to afford Mary.
No. But
hilarious.
Jadakiss said, you can sign with Puff, but it'll be the worst deal you ever get.
Right. And that's like, people have known this for years.
But it's like, I don't have no deal, or I take a
like,
bad deal.
You take no deal.
Some people feel like he's their only choice.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's one thing. It's like, if I'm walking into the room and I'm like, it's one thing to be like, I'm going to sign this terrible deal and I'm probably not going to get a lot of money, but I got to find a way to get out. Also, everybody has gone before us. So like we would be able, hopefully, if we were to ever be in a situation where we had a record deal, we would have enough cautionary tales to approach it differently. Yeah. But in these people's cases, they didn't have that. This is literally was the beginning of like what hip hop is today.
He knows talent. I can say that. He knows talent, and he knows how to take talent and take their naive view of music industry and like captivate them.
Right. But it's like once you ended up seeing the stuff that was going on behind the curtain, like I don't see how you could still sign up for that.
All these people were all around the same time. So the rumor, like, he burnt them all around the same time. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if as many new artists are signing with him as these older artists.
Right. When's the last time he had a new artist?
Right. Like, he burned everyone at once, which is smart on his part.
That's
because
crazy.
They don't have time to talk to each other because it's happening to them at the same time.
Right. Like, because the day 26, Danity Kane,
that was all
around the same time. But I'm like, once you know something, it's like, I don't know. Yeah. I feel like it's a situation where you had to be there.
Well, I feel like where he might have met his match, because all these people who he has burned in the past, he had more than them, right?
Yes.
And they needed him to do whatever they were trying to do. He met his match with this
Diageo.
Yeah.
Diageo lawsuit. Now they was like, I don't know who you think you playing with.
You think you got a little bit of money?
Right. It's like you think you could run everybody else like that, but you ain't gonna run nothing like that around here. Right. And that's where his ego was so inflated, where he thought he could treat anybody any kind of way.
Yeah, and mind you, he might have been right because he did win the lawsuit.
Right.
But you don't. If you're gonna get in the kitchen. Don't be mad if you get burnt. And I feel like
if you're going to get in the kitchen, make sure that your pots and pans ain't
clean,
dirty. Exactly.
Right. Because he knew he had skeletons and he tried to sue a
He had been getting away with it for so long. He was like, what's going to happen to me?
He decided that's like suing the freaking NFL. Like, that's $1 billion enterprise. Be careful before you try to, right? Same thing here. Like, he won this little coins he got, but now he in jail.
Right. It's like, who you lost.
With Bert. Worried about the soap. So it's like
you are lost. You lost so big. You lost so big. Won. It's like, not say that said you should have let it slide, but why you had so many things to go to jail for? Why would you sue somebody?
He thought he was above getting in trouble for these things. These aren't things that he just started doing.
Maybe it's like he probably was like, well, I'm not gonna get in trouble because he got everybody. He's got leverage against everybody because he has everybody on tape. People that is doing something not supposed to do. He probably had some people from Diageo who's on tape.
And I guess they're like, whatever. Right? Because that's what I mean. Now, we don't know if that's why all these indictments are coming, but I know around the time that Diddy was suing them, from what they said, they sent private investigators to
Diageo said it's not an eye for an eye, it's eye for a body, eye for a life, because you poke them and they about to put you under.
That's what happened. Now, do we know that's what happened? But that's what they say happened.
I mean, yeah, that's right. We don't know. Allegedly. We don't know if Diageo was the reason why all this stuff is coming up.
But the rumors are.
It's not. It seems like a mighty interesting coincidence.
Yeah. So he poked the lion and he got bit.
Yes.
So, but other people's careers. So let's talk about Kim Porter.
What was her career?
She's a model.
Okay.
She's a big model. Like, most of her best friends are big models, like Kamori Lee's, and like she was a model, and then she met Diddy, and then she became Diddy's baby mama. So all the women he dated, he was not interested. Which is kind of like what we talked about in our previous episode, like killer couple versus a killer couple. He was definitely a killer, no matter who he coupled with. He was a killer couple. Yes. Like, he was going to kill his partner's dreams and their careers and everything else because he's one of the world's...
It's really disheartening and like really, really sad to like, he was literally like, what's the word? Succubus?
Yeah.
Where like he just will suck the life out of everything. It's crazy.
Yeah, they did the same thing with Cassie. Like, for her to have been an artist, and as soon as she started dating him, her career just stopped. And he is a freaking music mogul, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
If anyone should have made her career go from new artist to star Grammy winner, it should have been her mogul boyfriend. But instead, no. He decided, you're not a singer anymore.
Yeah.
You're Diddy's girl.
Yeah.
And that's just so toxic.
Yeah.
J-Lo, now I don't know if this is true, but no. He apparently treated J-Lo like she was like a prize. So he didn't treat J-Lo the way he treated his other exes. Apparently, that's what his previous
Well,
bodyguard
J-Lo
said.
already had her own thing, right?
That's true.
She wasn't depending on him for anything.
That's true. She wasn't signed to him. Cassie was signed to him.
Yes.
But apparently, like J-Lo, he kind of treated it better. But J-Lo also, as soon as she saw, oh, this man crazy, she was like, whoop. Bye.
Right. Well, first of all, when that whole altercation that happened where she was like, she was about to go down for some stuff. She was like, I have my own career.
Bounce up out of there.
Exactly. She already had her time on In Living Color. She was already rising in her own success.
Yeah.
She's like, I cannot have my name put against this foolishness.
Yeah, it's not worth it. I don't need you, Diddy.
Yes.
So one thing I say about J-Lo, whether she's in the killer or whatever, maybe she's a killer in the killer.
Maybe.
I don't know. But one thing I know for sure,
she also ain't keeping it together with relationships.
She's not. But one thing I know, she will bounce. You ain't about to keep her stuck in nothing.
That's for true. That's for damn sure. She's like, I'm not going to be here letting you suck the life out of me. Okay.
Quickly. But you know what also makes me think about this? I know we're talking about, we've talked about the show Love and Music Detroit, or Love and...
Yes.
What is it?
Love and Marriage.
Love and Marriage Detroit. So I know a couple on there, Christina and Brandon. And I'm watching the new episode, and it's like hurting my heart to watch it because I know her. Like, she's my... Like, I love her. She's like family. Well, she is family. And there's a scene, because she sings, right? Chrissy sings. She's always sang. Even before she met him, she used to live in LA, and she was a singer, actress. Like, she's very, very talented. She's a stylist, designer. Like, she's just very, 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 very talented. Yeah. And her husband owns a little
talent search
agency.
Yeah.
Like, he builds kids' talent up. Now, have any stars come from this situation? No. It's called Star Factory. Have I seen any stars? No. Have you seen any of these stars? No. But he's married to a star. Yeah. And he just never cared about pouring into her talent.
And that's the stuff I don't understand, where it's like in this whole because this kind of goes into the killer couples thing, where it's, you're with somebody who has this talent. They have a talent. It's not like they're like, I want to try this thing, and this is what they were doing before they got with you, and then you get with them, and then you snuff it out.
Yeah.
What is that about?
And now, I don't think her husband, I'm not comparing him to Diddy at all. He is not anywhere near, not that I know of, anything crazy like Diddy at all. But I know in the recent episode, she mentioned something about her singing, because she's really good, and her wanting to pursue that. And he said something like, well, I didn't marry an artist.
What?
His words. He did not marry an artist.
What do you think she was doing before she got with you?
He's just like, you were not an artist when I met you, so I'm not going to make you an artist. That's the energy that it gave. And it's one of those,
you don't have to make me an artist, but you can support my artistry.
And this broke my heart to hear that, because it's like, man.
Yeah. And so that if you haven't listened to our Killer Couples episode, go and listen to that, because we definitely go into more detail about this type of thing, where it's like, who are you with, and are they killing your dreams? Yeah. And that is on both ends. It's like, what was the mindset going into this relationship on Christina's side? Because it doesn't seem like this is something that he ever supported. Yeah. So what was your mindset saying yes, knowing that your dreams were not going to be supported? Potentially. And then you knew that she was a singer. Why would you not say into that? This is a talent that I have. If we don't want to mix and mingle the business together, then I at least know that you're a singer at heart. This is what you want to do. This is a trajectory. I'm going to help you. Exactly. I'm going to at least champion you to go and live your dream. Yeah. Especially if it's not hurting me.
Yeah. And some people just aren't like that. He's not like that. And there's ranges to it. Diddy's an extreme range. He's level 100, but there's level 2s, and they're just as hurtful to someone's dream. So yeah, I mean, but in general, when you think about, not that Diddy is much different than any of these other record labels, because all these record labels are a little bit toxic. I think Diddy just does it in a more
egregious.
Like street gang violent.
I mean, they say that the music industry was founded by gangsters. Like it's an organized. It was founded by organized crime rings.
Yeah, and he definitely.
I'm not surprised if it runs like one.
He definitely gives kingpin. But the record label in general, like most artists will talk about how like the standard record deal is heavily in the favor of the record label.
Correct.
And it's not heavily in the favor.
Generations.
Yeah. And so most of these artists have these hits and things that they do not own at all. I mean, some artists do write a little bit, so they'll own part of the rights to like the song, but they won't own rights to like the recording. Right? Like, and so it's just like, it's like they're kind of in like a prison to the record label.
Yeah.
When it comes to their gift and their talent and their music. And they have to go on tour and make ticket sales to even bring in any type of money. And then they have to get the record label to agree to give them money for the tour. It's like a whole hamster wheel.
I don't think that any place of business should be allowed to just run like a circus or just like run like without any guardrails. There's no human resources. There's nothing to complain to. And if you do complain, then there's probably some repercussions for that because the person who is leading the record label, it's their record label at the end of the day. Yeah. Or you know what I'm saying? So it's like there's no protections for people.
It should be any contract. It should have a win-win. It shouldn't be one person's winning. It should be a win-win. This should be beneficial to both of us in an equal type of way.
Like a limitation where it's like you could win, like the person who is putting up all the money, all the effort, all of the resources in the beginning should win up to a certain point, and then there should be a clause that like releases it for the artist
at a certain point.
Yeah,
because like even I saw an interview with Chili from TLC.
Yes,
and she was like breaking down the numbers. And she was like, you know, we don't get money from the recordings. We don't get money from it going gold or platinum. That's not our money, right? We get money from touring. But she was like, even then, we have to split the money with production, with the cost of the venue, security, backup, wardrobe, split the money that way. And then we have to split it 3 ways because there's 3 of us. So she was like, we're making barely any money. And we're not just working 40 hours a week, right? We're not working a full-time job.
It's all other day, people bring all in night.
$100,000, let's say, working 40 hours a week, right? We might bring in that working nonstop for a whole year, tour, traveling, breaking our bodies down. Then we have to pay for health insurance. Then we got to pay rent over here. She's like, we don't have as much money as people. Some artists, yeah, they get to a point where they own their masters, they own this, and they're making more. But
they just get better deals.
But most artists in the beginning, they are broke. They are broke as a joke. That other group, 3LW, they were talking about how they did back when they started. They were broke as a joke, like really, really, really broke. And they'll have to borrow all their clothes and then give them back to like the stylists and stuff. But they rented a fake house to do MTV Cribs.
Oh, first of all those houses were rented. You know who when I saw, I was like, I'm like, very obviously this is fake. Usher did his cribs, and he looked like he had just walked into that house. And then they put bottles of Cristal. They used to do with the refrigerator would be empty, and they'd be like, yeah, all we drink is Cristal around here. I'm like, the pool looked like it was dirty. I'm like, this house was empty. It looked like they just were like, we found a house.
Yeah.
And did it. I'm like, it was a mess.
Yeah, that's what she said they had to do. Like, they had to like get a fake house and pretend like it was their house. And then we were going and living with our mom or living in a hotel or living.
MTV Cribs was probably one of the most fakest things on TV. For real.
But like, that's how most of these artists survive, is touring. But then like artists like the Lox, they're saying because of Diddy's contract with them, they couldn't even really tour. Like he had to agree to them doing anything. So if they pissed him off, they couldn't even
they would
sing
just put
their
him on
songs
ice.
out. So stuff like that, it's like, yeah, it's.
I don't know. It's like, I just can't. I'd rather have nothing. At the end of the day, I'd rather have nothing and have my freedom than a little bit of something in turmoil and terror.
Yeah, and I mean terror. Someone just having so much control over your livelihood.
Yes, I couldn't imagine.
You know what I mean? Like if you eat, if your family eats, if it's a lot that goes into that. I mean, I know like a couple years ago when Sierra married her husband, he bought all the rights to her music for her. And people are like
so
giving her
sweet.
crap about like being with him. I'm like, that man gave her freedom. Like,
Why would you give him? Why would you have?
they're like, she don't really like him. How she go from Future, and she was dating like like, you know, hip hop rappers until like a square.
Because she woke the hell up and was like, this is not it.
This is toxic. I don't want toxic.
At the end of the day, it's like, you know, Future was the last straw.
Yeah. She was like, you know what?
Like, I'm going to get me a nice guy.
Get me a guy who got my back, which is what she always says.
Exactly.
And he bought her freedom.
Because at the end of the day, it's like when you're trying to build a life with somebody, you don't want to have to build a life with a hot ass match. You see this Cardi B and
oh my God.
what's his name?
Divorcing, get back together, having a baby, then get
what is
divorcing.
this man's name? Not Offset. Yes, Cardi B and Offset. It's like
toxic
Cardi
101.
seems like she is miserable with this man.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're getting divorced.
Today.
They might not. They might be back together. I don't know, but it's drama.
Yes,
okay?
it's like,
and whether it seems like this is normal or not, it's impacting her kids.
Right, a peaceful relationship may be boring to some people, but it's one where you could build a life with somebody. Yeah. I don't want to be stressed out all the time thinking about some person.
Yeah, I mean, I can say that it seems like the industry's changing in some ways to where people aren't keeping quiet about the toxic behavior of it. I know Kanye West talked about this. Taylor Swift talked about this.
Kanye West also is a good toxic person. So
yeah, he be blasting it.
He be blasting the toxic while he is the toxic. Yeah. Yes.
But either way,
the toxic while you the toxic
he be telling the truth in his own way. But him and Taylor are people who, like, on platforms have talked about you need to own your masters. Taylor Swift owns all her stuff. No one owns Taylor Swift but Taylor Swift.
That's good.
At this point, I think Beyonce owns most of her stuff now. In the beginning, no. Right. But as she's become a bigger artist, she's like, nah, you ain't about to own me. But like, that's real freedom with these artists. So some of these big artists who get a big hit, you think they're balling. They're not. They're on tour because they are broke and they have to tour to make money. And it's a sucky thing.
Yeah. Like,
their music is all over the world, but they're not.
And people say that's like broken famous. It's like that has to be a really hard feeling where it's like, because if at least people think attention comes with money, but that is, you can have all the money and have zero attention.
Yeah. And it goes the same thing. Some of these contracts are like marriage, right? Like, I'd rather wait and get in a contract, whether it's business or whether it's personal, with someone who it's a win-win, and I know this would be a healthy contract, than to get into something just to be in it, to get what I think I want, and then it's toxic, and now I'm in jail, and I'm in prison, and now I can't do anything because I'm in this. You know what I mean? So either way, it's better to like wait and get the contract that is right for you, whether that is any type of contract, than to rush and then be in something that is horrible. And, you know.
And this goes outside of music industry or just entertainment in general. When you are, I know a lot have, we know people get laid off or they lose their job or something like that. I know a lot of people who that is a turning point for them when they're like, I'm not going to sell my life away to a toxic place, to a place who just drop me like a bad habit whenever they want to. So it's like, even when you're making $40,000, $50,000 a year, you could still be selective. Yeah. You don't have to take just anything. Yeah. Because
go ahead. Finish.
Because your life, your well-being, your mental health, you're protecting your mindset is more important than just any old job.
Yeah. And you never should let anyone or anything be in full control of your livelihood.
Yeah.
Even if that's a job. Like the company that I work for, she's the head over HR. She's like the C-suite. And she's just really kind, down to earth, Black woman. And her and I meet quarterly and just to talk. And one thing she told me, she said, any job you take, make sure you're gaining something and you know what you want to get from this company. And when you get what you came for, it's time to move.
Yes. And and it's not about money. Yeah. It's about building your skill sets. It's about making connections.
Don't just take a job just to take it. Oh, I'm just taking a job to get paid. No, because then now you're there just to get a check. Right. And so if they decide they want to fire you, you didn't get anything but this check, and now the check is gone. But she's like, go in and figure out what it is. She's like, every 2 years, once you've mastered a skill, move to try to promote up. That's what made me apply for the new job. She said, you've been in this role for 10 years. You do it well. You could check that off as a skill. You know how to do that. You know how to turn cold leads hot. You know how to get business. You know how to do business development. You've mastered that. Now it's time to upgrade.
Yes.
So if you're doing this for 4 years, what?
Right. When I worked at the university, one of my favorite bosses I've ever had. That's what we need to do. Like another episode on the great good bosses. Yeah. He told me when I was there, he was like, I do not want to see you here in 5 years. Yeah. He's like, he basically went on to tell me about like the potential he sees in me and things like that. But he's like, because when you're in some place for too long, then you just get complacent. Yeah. Or you get stagnant.
And you're only getting the job can only give you so many skills, right? Right. One particular position can give you, there's a cap on it.
Right. At some point you hit diminishing returns when you're out of role, especially if you're in the same position. Yeah. So it's like if you've been in the same position, especially at the same company, then you gotta move around. You cannot stay in that thing.
So although it can be scary, I know I'm nervous to go to a job. Like my new job, it pays more, but it's more responsibility. So, it's more on me. It's going to challenge me. But once I master this, now I've mastered something new that I did not know how to do before. Now I'm going to move to something else. Like you should not, once you've mastered it, move on to because that's how that's how you're getting more from the company than they're getting from you. Yeah. At least if they lay you off tomorrow, you can say, well, I did this. Exactly. I know how to do this. First, I only know how to do this and this because I stayed in the same role for 10 years. Yeah. Like my company just did some layoffs, and there's people on my team who've been with my company for 20 plus years.
That's crazy.
Right. And my job is it's maybe two steps above entry level. Right. So there are people who've been in this role for 6-7 years, a lot of years doing this job. They don't know how to do the next job. They only know how to do this job. Yeah. And even when we did layoffs, some of those people who've been in this role longer than me got laid off. They never tried to expand out and get more. So like, I don't feel like they took full advantage of being here for 5 years. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things that this company has to be working for you. Figure out where you're trying to go. Maybe at the end of this, I want to be the VP, right? VPs have this list of skills. I need to make this job give me as many of those skills as possible.
Right. So it's like, if you're not in that role yet, go and shadow somebody who is. Go make connections with somebody who is in that role. So you're like, this is where I see myself in this company. And if they're not a horrible boss, then they will support you on that trajectory.
Yeah. Yeah. And just, you have to be winning. You should not leave one job and the only job you can apply for is linear. If you get laid off, you should be able to go up, because of the skills you got from this job. You should not just be going linear your whole career. You should be going up. And so if you're not figuring out how to gain more skills for the up, then you're going to just be applying linear. Your career is going to be linear. Your income's going to be linear. Yeah. So you have to figure out where you're trying to go and what skills you need to get from this company to get where you're trying to go.
Yeah, exactly.
So good contracts.
Yeah.
Let's jump to things we wish we knew.
Okay. So something I don't wish I know any more of is Diddy's business. I don't want to know his business or anybody who was doing anything with him. Although it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because I do want to know what's going on in this case. Yes. But then
I want him to go down. Well, there's certain celebrities who I'm afraid were partying with him, and I love them. And I don't want to hear about them doing these things. Diddy, he can go down, but I don't want him bringing nobody down with him who I love.
They're going to bring themselves down if they was over here doing the foolishness that they weren't supposed to be doing. But I'm just like, I just feel like it's too much.
It's overwhelming.
It's going to be overwhelming. And I just don't want my 2025 to be, full of that. You know,
like at this point, like we have to figure out a rule to where if we have to cancel these people because they're petties or whatever, like can their music can the music be separate from them?
No, because that's a whole argument. That's a whole other episode.
What if he brings down the number of people who he might bring down? We don't have anything to listen to.
Who is that? There's still plenty of people to listen to.
A lot of the hits that we grew up on, a lot of the family barbecue hits, a lot of the grandma, like the auntie.
That's old school music though. That's the OJs. We can still listen to OJs.
No, but there's a lot of Diddy artists. Like even the other day I was playing like Brandy. She did a song with Diddy. I really like that song.
They said Brandy got something to do with it. Brandy
but I'm saying music that he has touched, goes it spreads. And so when Diddy gets canceled,
that's probably why they're not. That's probably why they didn't close it. It's a closed trial, so no one knows.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, if we cancel Diddy, I don't mind not listening to Diddy's individual music, but he did a lot of because he was a vulture. Okay, so any big artist, he was trying to do a feature with them. He's done a lot of features. Okay, even if he's just talking. So are those featured songs canceled too?
I don't know. Let us know. If the list comes out of who Diddy has worked with or who has played around with or had parties with, is everybody canceled? Everybody,
any song with those people on it, are those songs canceled?
Yes, even if they were features. Are all the features canceled too?
Yes, I need to know because
I mean, like R. Kelly, I don't have a problem. I didn't have a problem not listening to his music.
Some of the songs, I mean, I'm fine, but like some of the songs are on my karaoke list and I can't sing them no more.
I don't care.
I'm okay too, but now I'm thinking about.
And when I think about it, Diddy. When I'm listening to music, I don't ever feel like I hear Diddy's voice. Because
he just puts his name on there and he talks.
If his name is
Keisha
on
Cole,
it,
she has a song with him. I like that song.
If his name is on it, I don't think it matters as much as if it's his song or he's singing or talking on it. Or whatever.
If he took advantage of the artist in the contract, that's okay. We got to figure out the rules to this.
Right. What are the rules, guys? What are the cancel rules for Diddy?
Rules for Diddy.
Because he has had his hands in a lot of stuff.
So things I wish I knew. I wish I knew, man. I wish I knew how important ownership was when it comes to your gifts and your talents, and be mindful of vultures like Diddy, and not just the music industry, because they're in every industry.
Yes.
They're in arts, they're in dance, you could be
in business.
A coder, you could be an engineer, you could be a software developer. Figuring out the ownership part of any contract. Like I know someone he's older now, but he was engineer and he created something while he worked for his company that was innovative, and now they own it. He doesn't own it.
What?
Because he did it on their work computer.
Right. No, you do it on a separate thing. You do it separately.
But he wasn't thinking about it. He was just creating. So like things like silly. That, it's like, be careful of your gifts. You got to
be smart about it as well.
You have to guard your gifts and talents, because if you don't own it, someone else who's a vulture and recognizes talent, they will cash out on your gifts and talents.
Exactly. So, protect your gifts.
Yes. From Diddy's. From
all the Diddy's.
From all the Diddy's of the world. But also I want you to make sure you subscribe. Yes. And you follow us and you like and you share. We are holding in here with y'all because we think we have something important to say, and we hope that you guys like it. We're working on our audio. Be kind to us. We're trying to figure it out.
We'll give you that same energy.
Send donations, to help us upgrade our sound system.
I'm not asking for donations so everybody can start asking if you need money again. Yes. I'm not asking for donations, okay?
No, we need sponsors. Yes, we do.
But that's not a donation.
What is sponsorship? That's donating money to our cause.
No, sponsorships are not donations. That is an agreement where we give a sponsorship.
Okay, we need investments.
Okay, investments. Okay. Also knowledge. Of time, knowledge and time. Those are good investments as well.
Although we know a lot about all the things, we are not tech people. We are not sound engineers. We are not videographers, but we are doing all those things right now.
Exactly. We're doing all those things. And why are we posting, even with things being a little wonky? Because we're going to grow. And as we get better, we're growing in how we communicate and how we deliver our message. Yeah. And by the time our audio and lighting and all that stuff is good, we're going to be pros.
And you learn more from your mistakes than you do your successes. So
exactly.
We've learned a lot, and we hope that you're learning with us. So love y'all.
Bye.